Victory Yard in a special presentation, Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter. We'll be seeing the third of three fierce battles between Rocky Graziano and Tony Zale, one of the great rivalries in the history of boxing. Joining us to help recall and analyze the final fight between Graziano and Zale is boxing writer and historian Bert Sugar. Bert, as compelling as these guys were in the ring, they were very different outside the ring, weren't they?
They almost, particularly Tony Zale, was totally different than what you would have seen. He was a sweet, wonderful, quiet man. Basically, he carried the name Man of Steel very well, thank you indeed.
No one accused Rocky Graziano of being quiet.
Oh no, Rocky Graziano, besides wearing the map of New York on his face, described himself as a bad boy. He had, after the second fight, when he pulled down the microphone after winning the title in the 6th round and said, "Ma, your bad boy done it. Somebody up there likes me." He was basically the prototypical dead-end kid. Had in fact said of himself, "I never stole anything that didn't begin with an A." A radio, a car, a train. He was raised in Mulberry Bend here in New York and was basically a bad penny.
Well, he had been in the Army before he was a fighter, and he told me once, he said, I volunteered for the Army. He says, I forcibly volunteered. They told me either you go into the Army or you go to Rikers Island. So I went into the Army.
And he fought his way out of the Army, literally, by creaming an officer who had told him to do KP.
Exactly.
Then went over the hill, AWL. And all of that added up in December of 1946 to the fact that he had been suspended by the New York State Athletic Commission for failing to tell them or report a bribe attempt in his fight against Cowboy Shank, so that he couldn't fight in New York. Second fight is in Chicago after the first was in Yankee Stadium. Third comes back to Rupert Stadium in Newark, as close as they could get it. Still not New York.
And Tony Zale was a lot tougher than the officer that Rocky had decked in the Army.
Tony Zale had the second greatest body punch in the history of boxing behind Billy Patrol. This man could take you apart, as he had in the first fight with Rocky. When Rocky was ahead, he hit him, as Rocky said, so hard it clogged my ears. Or maybe it sounded like, so hard it clogged my ears.
Something to that effect. You obviously are a student of boxing. Let's turn now to another student of boxing, Rocky Graziano himself. Here's how he describes the first two battles with Tony Zale.
My first fight, I thought I was a wise guy. I wasn't training that well. I thought that I had a right hand, I could knock anybody out. I didn't know how tough he was. And finally, gave me a couple of good shots in the stomach, and I went down. I tried, I trained, I done everything right. I was very mad at the guy. I was mad at everybody. I just wanted to win that title, and I finally got that one good punch in. And I knocked him out in the 6th round, and I won the fight, and it was a tough fight.
Bert, those first two fights between Graziano and Zale, each one won. How good were those fights?
One writer, Dick, said the first two fights looked as if they were benefits from Murder Incorporated. They were always one punch away from being turned completely on their back. By that I mean, first fight, Graziano's down in the first round. Zale is down in the second. Second fight, Zale is knocked down in the 6th, but he's already knocked down Graziano in the 3rd and closed his eye in the 1st. So everything had a flip-flop effect. Every punch was one punch away from changing it.
Now, I mean, these guys obviously were great offensive machines. Did they ignore defense, or did they just ignore fear?
Well, Rocky really, when he fought, the defense rested. He just stood there and took everything in the belief he could always get that right hand home, which was a dynamite right. He used his left basically as a radar finder, just to find a man. Zale really was trying different things, not to block the shot so much as to come in with his left hook to the body or right to the body, left hook to the head. So it wasn't as if he was not defense-minded, but against Rocky, it didn't matter.
What did Rocky have? Did he have a tremendously high threshold of pain, or did he like getting hit?
I think that Rocky Graziano just believed if he swapped 1 for 1, even 10 for 1, he would win, as he had. He lost 9 out of 9 rounds, maybe 12 out of 9 rounds to Charlie Fusari, took him out in the 10th the first time he hit him. He always believed, let me hit the man, I got him. Doesn't matter how many times he hits me.
I am so glad that in all the time I spent with him, he never hit me. When we return, we'll see the third and deciding bout between Rocky Graziano and Tony Zale.
You're watching Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter on ESPN Classic Sports. We now return to Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter on ESPN Classic Sports.
Now, as promised, here's Graziano Zale 3, June 10th, 1948, in Newark, New Jersey. After the first round ends, we'll hear from Graziano and Zale, along with announcer Don Dunphy, as they talk with Kurt Gowdy on the historic show, The Way It Was.
From Gary, Indiana, wearing purple trunks, the outstanding challenger for the middleweight title, Tony Zale. And his opponent, from Brooklyn, New York, wearing black trunks, the middleweight champion of the world, Rocky Graziano. Attention, please. The weights. Zale, 158 3/4 pounds. Graziano, 158.5. Ladies and gentlemen, the ring officials assigned for this contest by the New Jersey State Athletic Commission. Timekeeper, Bill Mullet. Counting for the knockdowns at the bell, Nat Fleischer. Referee, Paul Cavalier. Main event, 15 rounds for the middleweight championship of the world. 2 roundabouts to follow.
The third meeting between these two great champions. Rocky the champion now. Zale won the first fight, Rocky the second, and here we are in the rubber match. Rocky put in a light left hand on the chin. Zale feints the left hand. Zale goes into a crouch, so does Graziano. Graziano moves away from a jab, misses a left hand over the head of Zale. Zale is short with a pecking left hand. He drives Rocky to the ropes, driving a left hand to the body, a right to the jaw, a left and a right to the head, another sharp right to the jaw by Zale. Graziano goes in and holds on for a moment, holding Zale against the ropes. And the referee, Paul Cavalier, gets them apart. It's round 1 for the middleweight championship of the world. Graziano standing up now, straight. Bobs and weaves a little bit, goes in, takes a grazing left hand to the jaw thrown by Zale. Zale moving in on him, wraps his left hand around the head, no damage there. And again, they go in and hold on and are tied up. At long range again, Zale feints the left hand, comes in with a hard left hook to the jaw, and Rocky Graziano is down. It's a flash knockdown. He's right up without a count. Rocky seems to be all right as they go back into action. They exchange light left hands to the head. Graziano drives the right to the body, is countered with a right to the body by Tony Zale, the man of steel from Gary, Indiana. Zale drives the right hand to the back. Graziano takes a light left hook on the jaw, 2 jabs on the mouth thrown by Tony Zale. Rocky is wild with the right hand over the head. Zale comes in driving a right to the midsection, misses a right hand over the head of Graziano. Referee Paul Cavalier goes over and now is getting them out of a clinch. At long range again here in round 1. Graziano misses a left over the head, is countered by a left hook on the head by Zale. Zale biding his time. Shoots out a jab that's short, a sharp jab on the mouth by Zale, a short right hand to the body, and again they go into close quarters and tie each other up. Parted by the referee, they go back into action. Zale cautiously drives a right to the body, a left hook to the jaw, another left to the head, a right hand to the body by Tony Zale. And Rocky Graziano makes no return. He was down earlier in the round. Graziano takes a light left hook on the jaw, goes in, and they tie each other up in another clinch. The referee having a bit of trouble getting them apart this time. Now at long range again. Graziano shoots out a jab that's short, so does Zale. That's also short. Zale drives a left hook to the head. A connecting left by Tony Zale. He gets under a left by Rocky Graziano, who seems to be off his game at the moment. Graziano feints the left hand, drives a left hook to the jaw of Zale. Zale shoots out a left that's short, takes the left hook on the mouth, drives Graziano back with a left hook on the jaw. Graziano biding his time now, feints the left hand, takes a right to the body, a left hand to the head, and then puts his own left hook to the jaw of Zale as they go in close again. At long range, Graziano out of a crouch misses a sweeping right uppercut, then misses a left hand. He's short with the left. Zale puts a light left on the jaw, a hard jab on the mouth by Tony Zale, a right that goes to the back, a left hook that hurts Graziano, a right hand to the body, another left hook to the jaw, and Graziano is hurt again and against the ropes. He takes a left and a right to the head, and the bell rings, and nobody hears it.
You're watching Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter on ESPN Classic Sports.
A right hand to the body, another left hook to the jaw, and Graziano is hurt again and against the ropes. He takes a left and a right to the head, and the bell rings, and nobody hears it.
Rocky, what was your personal feeling toward Tony? Then I want to get Tony's personal feeling toward you.
Well, actually, when I first met him, the whole Tree series, I hated the bum. I really wanted to kill this guy.
Seems like a nice, quiet man. Why would you want to do that?
Well, not always a nice, quiet man, but he wasn't a quiet man when he was in the ring. He was a little dangerous, but he was one heck of a great fighter. He boxed guys before me. He fought great champions, Billy Conn and Al Ostock and all those kind of guys. He was a great fighter. Just say this man is a great fighter, Don.
Tony, what was your feeling toward Rocky?
Well, I'll tell you, when I was in the Navy in Puerto Rico during the war, I had heard about some guy boxing in New York, Rocky Graziano, knocking guys out, you know. And if some boys say, hey, one day you'll probably fight him. I said, oh, I don't think so. You may not be around when I'll come back. So, nevertheless, I remember the name. And I come out of service, of course, and began working for a comeback, and matches were made between myself and Graziano. So, well, I heard about him before. I heard about his activity, his punching, his power, and so forth. And I thought, well, I've got more experience than he has. I'm more saner, I think. And because of it, I'm ahead of him. Should be ahead of him. Of course, we fought until 46. If you remember that fight, I had him on the floor the first round. He had me on the floor the second round. And third, fourth, fifth round, he hit with right hands, you know.
Tony, I remember that first fight very well, having broadcast it. And tell me if I'm wrong. You knocked him out in the 6th round with a solar plexus right, and then a left hook to the jaw, a 1-2, right? But it was always my impression that at the end of the fight, Rocky was in better shape than you were.
Truthfully, he was.
I remember Art Winston. They had to hold you up at the ropes.
I was more on the receiving end than he was at that time during the fight.
Well, I was the truth, though. In that fight, you're just so right. I was doing a hell of a good job with that fight. And I was, you know, because he was getting a little tired or something. I hit him a couple of good shots around the head and stuff. And it was a hell of a fight. And I was really banging away at him. And I thought I said, I'm going to kill this guy. I'm going to flatten him. And all of a sudden, he gave me a Jewish uppercut right in the stomach. Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that to me, boy?
Rocky, as I
remember, we're going at it again.
Don't do that, Tony.
Couldn't let you keep pushing me around. You pushed me enough.
We're going to go back on an instant replay here, and we'd like to have you follow along with us. This is the knockdown, and hear your comments. And here it is coming up now. What do you remember? What was the way it was?
Well, I remember it quite well. I hit him with a left hook, and he went down. It's much the same as the first fight. I had him on the canvas the first round.
Here it comes.
Also. So it's very, very similar to the first fight where I had him on the floor the first round also. Right?
There it is. Ooh, right there. Right there. And down he goes. Did you think you had him there? Did you think you really hurt him?
I thought I did, yes.
Well, he hit me a good left hook on the chin.
What did the corners tell you at the end of round one? Do you remember what they told you over in round one?
Well, I was still in the corner.
Yeah, in the corner. Did they say anything to you?
Nothing too much. They didn't have to. I had pretty good ideas of what was what, and they just told me keep cool. That's all.
What did they tell you?
Well, at the corner, Whitey Bimstein was in my corner. You know, Whitey was a hell of a nice guy, and Whitey Bimstein was a great trainer. He told me, Rocky, stay away from this guy. Jab him a little bit, jab a little bit, until you get the right hand and you bang him. But jab him, stay away from this guy. Make him get tired, you know? He said he's kind of an old guy. He's an old guy. He's hurting me.
An old guy.
He's killing me. An old guy is knocking my brains out.
You're watching Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter on ESPN Classic Sports. We now return to Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter on ESPN Classic Sports.
Round two for the middleweight championship of the world. Rocky in the dark trunks, Zale in the purple trunks. The referee is Paul Cavalier. Rocky was down in the first round. Let's see how he does now. He's defending his title. Rocky comes in with a wild left that barely reaches the jaw of Tony Zale. Zale calmly drives the right hand to the head. Zale feints the left hand. Rocky coming in on him out of a half crouch, sticks out a left that's short of the mark. Graziano drives the left hand to the jaw. It gets in there. Zale goes into a crouch, gets away from the left. His own left is short. Graziano drives to the right to the body. He takes the left and a right to the jaw by Zale. Graziano is short with the left hand. Zale drives the right to the body. Rocky hooks his own left hand to the jaw. A light jab on the nose by Tony Zale. Graziano out of a half crouch. He bobs and weaves a lot. He comes in there with a lead right hand to the jaw. Another right to the jaw by Graziano. Zale sticks out a left that's short. Another jab by Zale is short of the mark. Graziano sticks out a left hand. It also is short. Graziano out of a half crouch, gets away from a pecking left, takes a left hook on the jaw by Zale. Graziano feinting the left hand, sticks out a left that's short. Another is short of the mark. Zale backing away, puts a light jab on the chin, takes a hard left jab to the jaw thrown by Graziano. Graziano takes a light jab on the nose. Zale biding his time, backs away, takes a grazing right to the chin, counters with a left that's blocked, and Graziano hooks a left hand to the jaw that may have hurt Zale. Graziano out of a half crouch, takes a hard jab on the chin. Zale feigning the left hand, pecks away with that left jab again, ducks the right, fired at his head. Graziano out of a half crouch, gets away from three left leads by Tony Zale. Graziano ducks another left hand, sticks out a left that's short, hooks the left hand to the jaw of Zale. Zale feints the left hand, gets away from a light left thrown at his body by Graziano. Graziano a hard jab on the chin, drives Zale back a little bit. Graziano is the aggressor here in round two. After being hurt in round one, he takes a left and a right to the jaw. Graziano comes back with a short right to the jaw. That was a very hard punch. Zale comes in with a sizzling right to the jaw, a right to the body, a left hook to the head by Zale, and Graziano drives him back with two right hands to the head, and Zale goes in and holds on for a moment. The referee is Paul Cavalier as Zale drives a right to the body, a right to the jaw, putting Graziano on the ropes again. Graziano comes off the ropes, runs into a right to a body, and then gets away from a right. Graziano feints the left, hooks the left to the jaw, takes a jab on the mouth by Zale. Graziano's left goes to the head, a right, another left, and another right to the jaw by Graziano. In his best rally of the fight so far, he puts another left hook to the jaw. He's evening things up here in round two. A right to the jaw by Graziano, and then he misses a right and a left. Scores with another right to the jaw of Zale. Zale dances up and down, takes a right to the body. His left hand to the body is blocked by Graziano. And again, the referee gets them apart. It's round two. Zale biding his time, comes in with a hard left hook to the jaw of Graziano at the bell. You had Rocky down, and maybe you thought you almost had him out in the first round.
Yeah.
Now you find Rocky coming back at you in the second round, and you've probably got memories of the Chicago fight in your mind and wondering, how do you handle a guy like this? How did you feel after his rally in the second round?
I felt, in a sense, to let him wear himself out a bit.
Really?
He was younger than I. I was 35 years old. He was 26, you know. He was a boy, I was no man, so to speak. So I thought I'd work a little bit. I'd wear himself out a little bit. He tried, of course. He did a good job of trying, and that was it.
Rocky, how did you feel after round two? Did you feel you had it in hand?
Well, round two, I thought, I says, I'm going to get this old guy and knock his brains out. And he was a pretty good shape at that time as a guy that was 35 years old. And look at the shape he's in now. He's like
Yeah, he's fantastic.
39, right? And he
good
looks
shape.
fantastic. And he's a heck of a good guy. And we have got a lot of good communication together. But the thing I don't like about him, he was too good of a fighter.
Rocky, let's go back again on a slow motion rerun.
Yes.
And have you do the commentary on it with
All
this
right.
flurry.
Okay.
In a second, it looked like you might have had him really in trouble here and could have won this fight at this stage. Go ahead.
Well, over here, I looking at him. I hit him with one good shot right on the chin or body or something. And he was a pretty tough guy right there. And I was trying to bang him out. Right now, I was bobbing and weaving, and he hit me with a shot over there, a good shot. And now I'm just looking to rough him up and just looking to hit him. One good shot in the chin because I was a pretty good puncher. And I figured if I hit a guy in the chin, I would knock him out, which I've done. I've done like in 87 knockouts I had. And I thought right there, I thought I would knock Mr. Zale out. But this nice little kid, Zale, was just a little too tough. And,
This the toughest fighter you ever fought?
oh, he's the toughest guy I ever fought. And if you see the fights today, Kirk, you know, they're not like this here. They're not like this here. Forget about it. Everybody tells you the fights of today. Forget about it. The Olympics and the professional fighters that got around today. You just take a look at those fights and you'll see why him and I look like we look like.
Well, what do you feel
Basically,
about that?
we fought to win, both of us. We fought to win. We wanted to win. I wanted to hold the title. He wanted to gain it. So we fought, gave our utmost to either way to win.
You're watching Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter on ESPN Classic Sports. Return to Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter on ESPN Classic Sports.
We've seen two tremendous rounds of fight in this third match between these two great middleweight champs. Now, this third round is a carbon copy of the first two rounds, so let's return for round 3 with Don Dunphy.
Round 3 of a sensational fight, a replica of their two previous fights. Graziano, a hard right hand to the body of Zale. Zale biding his time again, gets away from the right, drives the right to the body, a hard left hook to the jaw that may have hurt Graziano. Graziano is driven back and he's wobbly from a left hook to the jaw, and Zale is on him with a flurry of punches. Another left hook to the jaw, and Graziano almost goes down but doesn't. He takes a right to the body, a left hook to the jaw. Again, Graziano is staggered, and I don't know what's holding him up. He takes the right hand to the body. Zale drives the right hand that grazes the chin. Graziano comes back, fights gamely, but goes down from two left hooks on the jaw. And he's taking the count from referee Paul Cavalier. Graziano just up at the count of 8. He is a very wobbly young man. Zale coming after him again, trying for a knockout. Drives a right to the body, a right and a left to the jaw. A left hook to the jaw, right uppercut on the mouth by Zale. A right to the body, a left hook to the jaw by Zale again. And Graziano is prone on the canvas. And the count is 5, 6, 7, 8. He's not going to make it. 9, 10. He is knocked out. championship of the world. The first middleweight to do that since Stanley Ketchel.
Boy, I could feel those punches years later, Rocky. I bet you can, too.
Oh, boy, I'm just... Why'd you do that to me?
Rocky, were you hurt from that knockdown? You seemed to be out pretty cold.
Yeah, after that fight, I went to a hospital. I had a concussion.
Yeah, your head hit the canvas when
I
you
had
went
a
down.
concussion.
I didn't hit you that hard.
No, although you hit me, I went to the hospital in Chicago, and I had a concussion in the head. You know? That's why I'm so
When you got up on the 7 count, you came right out swinging again. Did you think if you had it to do over again, you do that? Wouldn't you run a little bit and hide and something like that?
I wanted to, Kirk, I would really, honestly and truly fight the same way I done. You know, it's the only way I could fight. I was a street fighter, and I would fight the same way, and I would think he would do the same thing. You know, we were guys just walked in, and he would like to take me out. I would like to take him out. Fortunately,
either he or I, one or the other. The idea was to be he.
Very cool performer when he had you in trouble. He really measured you, didn't he, Don?
Yeah, I thought you mixed those punches up pretty well, Tony. You didn't go wild to the head. You threw some good shots to the body.
Pretty sane.
Yeah.
Pretty close that way.
All right, let's go back on an instant replay in slow motion and take a look at the KO. I'd like to get your comments. Both of you come in now. We're reliving history here and the way it was. This is New Jersey, 48, and the dramatic wind-up of this middleweight title fight. Let's go, Rocky.
all right. I was looking to bang him out, and of course I see he was in pretty good shape then.
Ooh.
I got hurt right there. Right there, I got real hurt, and that was. But I looked to fight back, you know, like I told you, we were trying to bang each other out, and I never wanted to stop. But I was in fairly decent shape there. They hit me a couple of good bangs over there that you don't see around.
Seems to be that left hook, Tony, you're doing the damage.
Yeah, and you know, as an Italian, I should have done something different. I should have a gun in the ring with me.
Tony, I notice you don't waste many punches.
I was determined I had to get him out of the way because let's take chances. I took a chance before and it didn't work out to my advantage, so I had to make sure it didn't get it.
I never should have done that there. I was seeing
who is that?
No, that I was so dazed over there.
You mean you shouldn't have gotten up?
There. No, but I pulled him up on the ropes and I was out.
Looked like to me they should have ended the fight there.
I thought that was a brave referee, didn't you, Tony?
I think that referee should have stopped the fight.
I think he should have stopped it.
But take a look at that. Look at a nice looking Italian kid like that.
Nice guy like that.
What do you hitting a guy like that? Anyway, but we tried, Tony.
We fought to win. We gave the people what they wanted to see. And
look at that. Oh my God. See, that's why I got a concussion right over there.
Is that right?
I went to Chicago Hospital.
Tony, you were 34 years old. You were a 2.5 to 1 underdog. 35.
35 years old.
Is this the greatest thrill you got out of boxing?
I was 35, May 29th. We fought June 9th, the following month.
This your greatest thrill in boxing, this fight? Yeah. This your best thrill?
It was because of the fact that we were able to gain a title, which had never been done for many years before. So it was a quite distinction in that regard. I felt that I achieved something worthwhile all the more because I regained my title, also being the second one in history to do that.
Everybody's demanding the 4th fight, Don. They didn't fight. What happened?
I don't think Rocky demanded a 4th fight, did you, Rocky?
I don't want to fight him.
You're watching Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter on ESPN Classic Sports. We now return to Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter on ESPN Classic Sports.
Zale's knockout of Rocky Graziano in their 3rd fight gave the middleweight title back to the Man of Steel. Now let's rejoin the way it was as Don Dunphy has an excellent matchmaking proposal for Graziano.
Rocky, I want to ask one question. You fought Zale and you fought Ray Robinson.
Right.
What would happen if Zale at his best fought Robinson at his best?
I don't know why he didn't fight Robinson, because this here guy could have licked Robinson because
you think so?
He was a good body puncher, tough guy, and I think that
would have been a great fight.
I think it would have been a great fight. In my opinion, I fought Robinson, and I fought Tony. In my opinion, I think that Tony Zale would have licked him.
What if Tony Zale had squared off with Sugar Ray Robinson? It almost happened. The actor-comedian Jerry Lewis, a huge boxing fan who once appeared on the vintage television program The Main Event with Rocky Marciano, had a hand in trying to arrange a Zale-Robinson middleweight bout. Let's hear the story from Tony Zale.
What about you, Tony? Do you think you could have beat Ray Robinson?
In 1949, or 1952, I think. You see, when I fought, I had a very bad right elbow. It was gone. He didn't know it. It's a good thing he didn't know it. The elbow was gone.
Why you tell me?
I should have told you after. Anyway, it was gone. I had the arm operated on in 49. I got service. I got to quit boxing. I had 5 bones split out in the elbow. I had terrific pain. The doctor told me if I had waited longer, I may have lost the arm. So I had the operation and everything else. In 52, I was in good shape. Training and everything else, working with the boys, and coaching and all. And Jerry Lewis, the movie star, came to Chicago, called me up. We had a talk. He asked me, Tony, would you fight Ray Robinson? I said, gladly. I had always wanted to fight him before in the first place. He said, okay, that's all I want to know. So they called Robinson and offered him $300,000. He told me, no go. And back then, I had a boy boxing on Robinson's card in Omaha, Nebraska. This boy, I don't remember, he lost the fight or won the fight, but anyway, I was passing by Ray Robinson in his outfit, and he said, hey, Tony. I said, yeah, Ray. He says, you know, they all wanted to fight you. They offered me a lot of money. I want no party, I knew better, he said.
That's nice.
I would have made $500,000.
That was a great
Quite a compliment.
But Jerry Lewis, the comedian, tried to make a match between Tony Zale and Sugar Ray Robinson. The match never took place. If it had, who do you think would have won?
I happen to think at this point in time, Tony Zale, as great as he was still in the decline of his career. He was closer to the end than the beginning. Sugar Ray Robinson was on the way up. He was a welterweight, Zale a full-fledged middleweight. Therefore, it would have been hard to make it, but I still think that Ray Robinson was the greatest fighter in the history of boxing and would have won somehow, some way, somewhere, although he did step aside and not fight people that he knew he would have trouble with, as he did it with Archie Moore later in his career. So my thinking is he probably stepped aside from this potential fight because it would have given him a heck of a lot of trouble.
Sugar Ray was not only good, he was also smart.
Oh, yes, and his manager, George Gainford, who knew there's something called Gainford law. It's not how many seats you have in the house, it's how many asses you have in the seats in the house. Probably was looking forward more to a Graziano than a Zale fight at that time.
I hope nobody's counting here. When we come back, we'll take a look at where Graziano Zale ranks among boxing's greatest rivalries.
You're watching Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter on ESPN Classic Sports. We now return to Graziano versus Zale, the final chapter on ESPN Classic Sports.
Ali Frazier, Pep Sadler, where does Zale Graziano rank among boxing rivalries?
First of all, it's the first trilogy, the first threesome. So it gives shape to Ali's and Frazier's and Ali's and Norton's and all of those. Secondarily, for its ferocity, I think it compares to any. Those first 2 fights were brilliant. The third, not quite as brilliant because it didn't turn as oft. But the ebb and flow of those 3 fights basically lit up boxing skies right after the war, and they're something that all of us use as a standard for great fights to follow.
Boxing isn't the same when it doesn't have those rivalries. It needs them. It's its lifeblood.
Well, there's that old thesis that you're only as good as who you fight. And in this case, Graziano and Zale were not good. They were great.
Made each other. After they stopped boxing, which probably neither of them wanted to do, to talk about their lives afterwards.
Well, I remember Rocky Graziano wandering the halls of an agency I was with, Papert Koenig Lois, doing the Dannon yogurt commercials and saying and practicing in the halls, cultured yogurt. He had gone to work with Martha Ray, who had basically found him and put him into show business. And he became basically not a dem, dare, and doze guy so much as a New York quintessential spokesperson. Tony Zale went back home to Gary to work with the CYO to teach kids to box and remarried after his first wife passed on, a very lovely lady who was a female baseball player who was one of the ladies pictured in A League of Their Own. Right. So they each had a separate life which was in keeping with their lives before their classic 3 matches. One became New York to the world, and one went home to Gary just to be Tony Zale.
Of course, Rocky spent his whole life playing himself, which was his best role, which he did off-screen and in hundreds of commercials. Rocky, like Burt Sugar, was a character. One of my favorite Rocky Graziano moments occurred on December 14th, 1969, while he was taping a segment of the Joe Namath Show. Rocky was a guest on the program, along with another great athlete, the heavyweight author in a featherweight frame, Truman Capote.
You've written about such a wide range of subjects. Have you ever had any interest in football?
Well, believe it or not, when I was in boarding school, I was played center field in the boarding school football team. But the only reason was no, I was pretty good. You know, I'm small, but I'm very strong. Someone once said about me, he's small, but his sting is deep.
But that was kind of time who said that.
No.
What do you think, Rocky?
What do you mean by that remark?
But anyway, I wanted to tell you why the reason was that in the boarding school why I would stay the center, because I was the only person who had brains enough to remember the signals.
It's quite a school, I bet.
Joe plays center field now a lot for the Jets.
Yeah.
Hey, Truman, didn't I box you in Cleveland? Truman, you'll do a heck of a great job doing commercials. Because me and you, nobody will understand this.
I don't think Rocky quite went for that whole story about you and Humphrey arm wrestling. Why don't you just have a little arm wrestling contest here?
No, I'm going to.
I told you he was afraid.
I've passed those days.
I really,
No.
I think Mr. Capote just doesn't want to make a fighter look bad. You know, I mean, you have this whole image, you know, about being tough, and he just didn't want to put
I'm
you
not
down,
tough.
right?
I'm just a nah. I want to just arm wrestle just once. Come on, Truman.
I'm not going to.
The guy wrote such great book in Cold Blood and all those killers. You could take my arm apart.
I don't believe in doing things physical on television.
I confess that I was responsible for arranging the guests on the Joe Namath Show back in 1969. The Graziano-Capote matchup was probably my best card. Thanks to Burt Sugar for joining me to salute the Graziano-Zale grand finale. ESPN Classic Sports will return with more in a moment.